Hello, and welcome to the Girl Scouts of New Mexico Trail's Delegate Training video. We are excited to be preparing for our annual meeting, and we'd like to congratulate you on being elected as an official voice in your service unit. I'm Angela Sayler, Training and Recognitions Manager for this council, and I'd like to start out with the basic structure of our council. Our council covers the top 2/3 of New Mexico, from Glenwood and Portales to the Colorado border, with the exception of the Navajo Nation, which is served by the Arizona Cactus Pine Council. Because we cover such a large expanse of land, we have amazing local teams of volunteers who make sure that girls are involved in their local communities. We call these teams of volunteer leaders service unit teams, and we refer to different areas within our council as service units. You have been elected as a delegate representative of one of these local service units. Although the number of service units fluctuates, we currently have 26 across our council. Within each of those units, the members, or troop leaders, trainers, service unit team members, and other registered members of GSNMT, from each given region, elect the allotted number of delegates. The number of girls registered within each service unit determines this allotted number. The Girl Scout movement is rooted firmly in the belief that the democratic process shall guide its activities. This means that members can influence decisions and activities in matters of governance and management and have access to those responsible for decision-making. This governance process was put in place to ensure that all 7,000 of our members have a voice. The governance process is most evident at the Council's annual meeting and at the National Council session, which is held every 3 years and most recently in November of 2011 in Houston, Texas, where delegates met to vote on national governance issues and elect our GSUSA board members. Today, this video will cover governance and operations, roles and responsibilities of delegates, and an explanation of how to submit a proposal. If, after completing this training video, you and the delegates in your service unit feel that you need or want an in-person supplementary training, please contact me at 505-923-2516 or asayler@gsnmtrails.org. We have 2 delegate trainers at this time who are willing to provide this supplementary training upon request. Regional or service unit level and national or council level delegates are part of the governance process in our council. What exactly does governance mean, and what's the difference between governance and operations? People working in governance make the big picture decisions, establish the direction that the council will take. People working in operations carry out those plans and implement the decisions. They make it work. Governance decisions are for people. Very high-level decisions are made by the voting members at the annual meeting. Once the voting members establish high-level directions, members from the board of directors work throughout the year, providing oversight and ensuring organizational and financial stability. Most of you are very familiar with the operational side of things. These are the actual processes put into place to get us to the big picture vision. But as a delegate, you're in charge of that big picture vision. Let's take a look at some examples of the differences between governance and operations. One simple way to look at it is by who takes care of each level. High-level decision-making is done by voting members, or delegates. That's you. Oversight is done by the board of directors, and operations is carried out by staff. You can see the difference in many different parts of our council's structure. Here is the difference in strategic planning. The difference between governance and operations in fiduciary oversight. And an example of the difference within policies and procedures. Now it's your turn to quiz yourself to see if you've grasped the difference between governance and operations. did you do? Hopefully really well. But if you need any more help, have questions, or would like more examples, make sure that you contact me at the email address on the screen. Understanding the difference between governance and operations helps you understand the scope of what a delegate takes care of. But what role exactly does the delegate serve? Regional and national delegates provide a way for information about ideas and governance matters to flow to and from members. When faced with certain issues during the year, the Board of Directors might ask the delegates to share information with members or to gather input from them. This year, delegates are asked to prepare themselves for the annual meeting by communicating with their members, preparing and submitting any proposals to submit to the Board of Directors, and to prepare themselves for the annual meeting by communicating with the membership in their service unit. Voting members are asked to come to the annual meeting informed but not instructed. What does this mean? While you are responsible for understanding the viewpoints in your region, you should never come prepared to vote on any issue in one direction or another. Instead, be prepared to listen and consider everything that you hear. You were elected because your region has entrusted you with the responsibility to make the best decision you can after careful consideration of everything that you hear. It's important to inform yourself about what the members in your service unit think. Their opinions should inform your vote, but it's your ultimate decision as a delegate. Members in your region won't have heard the discussion at the annual meeting or the thoughts from other service units around our council that are brought up. Different perspectives will be shared that you will have heard alone during this annual meeting. After the annual meeting, you're asked to report back to your members and let them know what happened. What does the delegate cycle look like annually? Annually, on behalf of the Board of Directors, staff notifies each service unit manager by March 15th of the number of delegates and alternates that they are entitled to. The number of registered girls within a service unit determines this allotted number. This council has no less than 60 delegates and no more than 240. 2/3 of these delegates come from service units. The other third is comprised of the board, the officers, the Board Development Committee, and delegates appointed by the board to reflect diversity within our council jurisdiction. By May 15th, the service units elect and submit the names of the delegates and alternates they've chosen to the council office. Training for delegates is available May 15th. From May 15th through August, the delegates' responsibility is to facilitate discussions with the members of their service unit to determine proposals to be submitted for consideration at the September Board of Directors meeting. From September through November, each delegate is responsible for facilitating discussion with the service unit to ascertain how the members feel about each proposal that was submitted. Remember that at the annual meeting in November, you will be hearing opinions from across the council as well. While your regional members guide your vote, it is ultimately your decision to make. How do proposals work? A proposal can be developed by the service unit between May and August for submission at the September Board of Directors meeting. After a proposal is prepared, it is forwarded to the Board of Directors for their approval and, if approved, is included in the agenda at the annual meeting. All proposals which are included on the agenda will be voted on by the delegates who attend the annual meeting. The proposal process requires you to keep in mind 6 things. 1. The scope of the proposal should address the improvement of Girl Scouting throughout the entire council jurisdiction. 2. Proposals must be submitted in the approved format by the scheduled board meeting in September. This approved format can be found on the Delegate Information section of our website. 3. Our council bylaws govern any proposals related to the bylaws and proposed amendments. Make sure that you are familiar with these bylaws, which can also be found on the Delegate Information section of our website. 4. The Board of Directors considers the proposal and, at its sole discretion, determines whether the proposal should be placed on the agenda for the annual meeting. 5. All board-approved proposals, including the board's recommendations, are forwarded to the service units for their discussion and consideration. They will also be posted on the Delegate Information section of the website following the September Board of Directors meeting. 6. The proposals are discussed and voted on at the annual meeting held in November. We are looking forward to seeing you at our annual meeting this year, which will be held on November 16, 2013 at the National Hispanic Cultural Center in Albuquerque. As this date approaches, each delegate will receive information from Annette Lefebvre, our Director of Administration and Operations, on the location, times, and agenda of our annual meeting. If you find that you are unable to make this meeting, or if you need to resign as a delegate, please contact Annette as early as possible. She can be reached at alefebvre@gsnmtrails.org or 505-923-2520. At annual meeting, you will see that our council uses Robert's Rules of Order as the parliamentary authority. Robert's rules can seem somewhat intimidating to some. Fortunately, our council's parliamentarian will be present at the annual meeting, and assistance will be available to you if you want to influence the discussion in some way but aren't sure how to do it. Here are the governing rules of debate that we will ask to approve at the beginning of the annual meeting. All discussions must be relevant to the subject that is before council. No person may speak for more than twice on the same subject. No person may speak for more than 2 minutes at any one time. Only voting members of the council may speak on questions requiring official action by the council. Voting members are defined as delegates elected by regions, delegates to the National Council of GSUSA, members of the Board of Directors, Girl Board participants, and members of the Board Development Committee. Many ask, what exactly is expected of me as a delegate? As a delegate, you are responsible for being well informed of the policies and workings of the Girl Scouts of New Mexico Trails. To read all delegate communication, information, and materials. To be able to articulate the issues clearly to and from the membership and the Board of Directors. To attend the annual meeting and cast a well-informed vote. To be prepared to serve if called upon for any special meetings. To elect officers of the board, members at large, delegates and alternates to the National Council of GSUSA, and members of the Corporation Nominating Committee. To receive and respond to reports from the Board of Directors, and to submit any concerns relating to policy to the Board of Directors. This concludes your delegate training video. Please visit our website and review the supplementary materials that have been provided for your benefit and information. Thank you for participation in this process, and congratulations again on your election to this position. We look forward to seeing you at the annual meeting November 16th.